Okay, it's August 27th, 2016, here in Flat Rock on the island of Newfoundland in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean. And this is my bee yard such as it is. Kind of looks like a junkyard, but that's the motif that I embrace. And I just did a full inspection of every single hive in this little bee yard, and I'm soaking wet with sweat, and everything's still laying around looking like junk. But anyway, I'm going to try to give an update of where I am with my bees right now, because 2 winters ago I had about 8 colonies going into winter, and they looked pretty good. And then shrews destroyed 6 of my 8 colonies, and I was left with 2 very weak colonies last summer. And I tried to build them up last summer, and things didn't go so good, so I tried to build them up again, more or less from 2 colonies this summer, and now I've got 9 colonies and 2 nukes, so potentially 11 colonies there. And going from 2 to 11 seems like a big jump, but and it is. Yeah, what am I talking about? It is a big jump. I bought 3 nukes for about $1,000. So 3 of these colonies were started from nukes around July 18th, I believe. And I had another big colony with a 4-year-old queen, and I split that into 3, and then I bought 4 mated queens actually. So hold on, yeah. Anyway, I had 3 nukes and 4 mated queens, and whatever. Let's just say I did what I had to do, and now I've got 9 colonies on the go. So let's just do a little review here. This is a hive top feeder that's empty right now that I just took off the feeder because I realized they're actually blocked right now. There's no room for the queen to lay, and even this late in the year I don't really want to see that, so I've removed that hive top feeder. Anyhow, this colony was started from a nuke on July 18th. I've been feeding them all summer long and adding some drawn comb. And this particular colony, it's in this corner of my bee yard. The rest of my colonies over here and all over there, they're in sun most of the day, but this colony, even now, you can see it's in the shade. This one's not. The rest of them are in the sun except for that one. And so these guys are in the shade most of the time, so they're not building up as quickly. So I've had to steal brood from other colonies to build them up. But they're looking good. They're looking so good they don't even need any more food. I might top them up later in the fall, but they're doing fine, so they don't need any more food. I'm happy with them. I may give them some more brood. Anyway, this one was I'm losing track. Okay, let me just think. Okay, that was a nuke. This one over here was a nuke. Just go with the nukes right now. So this one was started on from a nuke, also on July 18th. I've been feeding them with drawn comb, which drawn comb means they just didn't have bare plastic foundation or foundationless frames in there to get them started. They had a comb with cells in them already, so that the queen could start laying and the bees could fill the egg, fill it all up with pollen and all that good stuff. So anyway, so this is a nuke started on July 18th and doing good. This is a top box. It's just forget about that right now. That's nothing. It's a 2 deep colony. And what did I do? I did the same thing. I stole some brood from some other colonies. And they're doing good. Anyway, whew, I'm just really tired from these inspections. Okay, so there's another nuke colony, again started from around July 18th on drawn comb. Feed them like crazy, and now they're doing extremely well. They're doing so well I probably don't even need to feed them. I can just give them a break for a little while. But anyway, they're good. What else we got here? So this colony is it began from a queen last year. A supersedure queen from last year, which was a disaster situation that I won't go into. But anyhow, I removed the old queen and I put her in this little white box over there. It's a double nuke box, so she's sort of in reserve just in case something bad happens. I removed the old queen and put in a mated queen that I bought from a beekeeper in Placentia, and that was, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? Yeah, something like that. And she's doing fine. I think she's doing pretty good. Same deal. No, this one over here. It used to be, I had a big giant hive, and I split it into 3, and then I put one of the mated queens that I got from Placentia into a single box, fed them, blah blah blah, Anyway, 2 deeps, and the queen is laying and doing well. And then this one, yeah, all right, so, I don't know what this one, oh, this one is, I can't remember now. I have notes, but my notes aren't that accurate, or whatever. Right, so this one is from last year too. And, no, or is it? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This is from last year, I believe. I can't remember. Yes, this one is from last year. Geez, I can't remember. I honestly can't remember. Anyway, it's got 3 deeps in it, and I added a 3rd deep about a week ago because I found tons and tons of, like, must have been 20 or so queen cups hanging off the bottom of some of the frames. And queen cups are sort of like the precursor to swarm cells. Not necessarily means they're going to swarm, that means they could swarm, and there's enough bees in there that if they had to swarm, they could. So anyway, I knocked them back, and and they're doing fine now. But they're 3 deeps. They're going like crazy. I didn't think I could get honey from this colony, but now I realize I probably could have. But instead, I give them a 3rd deep, and they're going to make tons of honey, which I will feed to my other bees later on in the winter. What else have we got on the go here? Okay, so this is a double nuke box. So it's a single box with there's a wall in the middle of it, and there's a little entrance there. You can see the bees coming and going, and on the other half of the box, on the other side, there's another entrance. So there's 2 colonies in this box, and they're from old queens that I could have killed. I could have dispatched when I was installing mated queens, but I didn't. I just put them in that box, and if they live or die, well, whatever. You know, at least I got some resources from them, and I steal brood from them all the time and give them to my other hives. Okay, what's going on with this one? Oh, this one is this is the latest drama in my bee yard, I guess. This colony was started from a split, which originally used to live over there. It was a 3 deep hive that was over there. Brought it over here, put a mated queen in it, and they killed the queen. And they killed the queen because the colony that I split was on the verge of superseding their queen, which means they were creating queen cells. And a queen cell is as good as a queen for most bees, and so they killed the queen. And I said, shoot. So through all the jigs and the reels and the fooling around and shenanigans, I took another mated queen and destroyed all the open brood so they couldn't make supersedure cells, put them in, boom, and I think they're going off okay. I see fresh brood all over the place. I've stolen fresh brood or brood frames from all my other colonies to pump up this hive because it's very late in the season now to start up a nuke. So I try to get them up to 2 deeps before winter. And the strange thing is this queen is marked, and I can't find the queen. I have never been able to find this queen, but I see signs of the queen laying. I don't know what's going on, and I've never spotted the queen or any queen, and there's no supersedure cells on the go, but there's fresh brood. It all looks nice and everything looks great. So, but I don't know what's going on. So I can't find the queen. So I'm just hoping she's in there somewhere doing her thing. Yeah. So this one again, that's the nuke. Okay, and we're going to save the best for last, but which is not this colony. So this colony is originally had what did it have? Oh, it had the 4-year-old queen who's now living in that little box, that little white double nuke box over there. And she's a 4-year-old queen, but laying well. And I think they were superseding when I made the splits and all the shenanigans happened with the mated queens, and they rejected the mated queens, all kinds of fun stuff, which I finally worked out. But it was a bit of drama there. So what's going on with these guys? Yeah. So I didn't know what was going on with these guys. I gave them a mated queen. I removed the old queen, gave them a mated queen, put them down into one box, and I left them alone, forgot about them. I just didn't want to think about it. And today I just finally did some rearranging, fooling around, because I needed to get some frames out of this hive because my other hives needed more stuff, more drawn comb and stuff. Anyway, I found the queen in there, and I found just frames, like full frames like this. Every cell full of eggs, full of capped brood, which means this queen is going to town. So it's great, good stuff. It's a 3 deep colony right now, but I'm going to knock them down to 2 before the winter comes around, because that's just what I'm going to do. Okay, so and here we go. This is the one that I'm banking on to make honey this year. This colony is my only colony from last year, that had a successfully introduced mated queen that I bought from the West Coast. All my other queens were killed and destroyed, and again, more drama, but these ones came out okay. The funny thing with this colony is it started off so slow in the year, I was concerned that it just wasn't building up. So I stole 5 frames of brood from the big colony, the old queenie, the old 4-year-old queen colony, who I thought was, you know, dying, and gave them 5 frames of brood just to give them a boost. Then they started making so much honey and started going crazy. I said, oh no, a potential swarming situation. So I had to pull later on, a month or so later, I had to pull 3 frames of brood, put in some completely empty frames just to knock them back while they were in the middle of the honey flow, and it didn't even make a dent in them. They made, I don't know when they filled the first honey super, but this is a honey super, honey super, but anyway, they got the first honey super filled, and then I put a second one on, and I put the second one underneath it, so that they could easily access it and whatever. Anyway, so and eventually I put in a third one just because they were filling them so quick. And the other thing I did is I drilled a hole in the honey supers to give them quicker access to the honey source, the honey supers, so that they would, because I read that if you do that, they, instead of going down through the bottom entrance, they go up, and going all the way up from the bottom entrance to the honey supers, they go right to it, and they work quicker, and they fill up the honey supers quicker. But I also noticed for some reason, which I won't even get into right now, they filled a lot of the frames with pollen. So that's not, that ain't too great. So I ended up putting the top and bottom honey supers don't have holes in them anymore, because it wasn't working out. So, but anyway, hopefully I'll have, well, it depends on how much each frame weighs, but I'll probably get over 100 pounds from that of honey. So that's pretty good. And I won't be selling it or doing anything like that, because it's a long story. But basically, that's the only honey I'm getting this year, and this is where I am in my bee yard. So, boom. 2 years ago, I had 8 colonies that were destroyed by shrews. No one ever warned me about shrews, mice, and all that fun stuff. Yes, but shrews, nope. Never had a clue about it, and almost completely destroyed everything I had, everything I'd built up over the past, I think it was 4 years at that point. So yeah. Anyway, so now I've got 9, and 9 is more than I want, to be honest. I'm probably gonna just start selling off brood and all kinds of just frames and things like this, just to make my life easier than trying to deal with 10 colonies all at once. Because next year, or next spring, if all these colonies are going full tilt and everything's working out great, I'm gonna have 9 of those babies. So I'm gonna have a lot of honey, and I'm gonna have a lot of, it's probably not gonna happen though. Probably something is bound to go wrong. But anyway, yep, so this is my bee yard. And this is the fireweed. It's starting to fade out now, but it's been hanging around for the past 6 weeks, I guess. It's been really great. I think most of my bees collect fireweed nectar and clover. That's what I could see. And I think the fireweed nectar, or the fireweed pollen, is light green, but I don't know. I can't tell what that light green stuff is, but there's more of that light green stuff than anything else. Other beekeepers may know what I'm talking about there. And yeah, and now the goldenrod is starting to come in, and so yeah, once these guys have, these girls I guess, have capped all the honey in those honey supers, I'm just going to remove them, and then all the honey is for the bees. Most of these bees, like this colony, could have made some honey for me, but it didn't. I just put a deep on it instead, and I probably, if I was, if I was more manipulative with the hives, I probably would have got some more honey, or would have been able to get more honey. But 1 is enough, and I'd rather have 9 colonies with all the honey they need to get through the winter than having to top them up with sugar all winter, which I hate. So anyhow, so that's it. Back on track, hopefully, sometime next June. Maybe I'll do another update and see where we are, and maybe I'll have, maybe this will be total insanity, which it very well could be. Okay, that's it. I guess I'll do a close-up of the bees before I go.